The New York Football Giants are so deep in the NFC East basement, they're finding Christmas presents. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Deception, and I talk about the historically bad New York Football Giants. And instead of talking about that last dumpster fire against the New Orleans Saints, we're going to open it up with something a little bit different and talk about how bad this Giants team really is and how bad the Giants have been over the last several years. And we'll start it off with this infamous photo, and some of you may know what this photo is, some of you might not. But essentially, this photo is known as the infamous boat trip photo, where you'll see some pretty prominent New York Giants players in this photo. You have players like Odell Beckham Jr., Sterling Shepard, and essentially the reason why this photo is so iconic is because ever since this photo was released back in 2017, the Giants have literally had the worst record in football out of any other NFL team since 2017, with a record of 39-88-1, which makes them literally have the team with the least amount of wins in that 7-year span, which is completely unacceptable. I don't know how that's even possible. But we're not done there. You have planes flying over the stadium in this last Sunday's game against the New Orleans Saints at home, where you'll have a plane that says, "Please, Mr. Mara, fix this dumpster fire." I don't know why you put the word "please" in there. I would say, probably a lot more expletives in that statement, but I guess you pay by the letter. I couldn't think of a more fitting way to express your displeasure with this team than with a public statement hovering over the stadium, where the owner definitely notices something like that, the players notice things like that, the coaches notice things like that. And that's not the biggest headline of that New Orleans Saints game. Something else that really popped off to me, and this is another historical record that the Giants have set for themselves in this franchise. Drew Lock, our starting quarterback, the one that we paid $5 million to come in here and be Daniel Jones's backup, and now the subsequent starter, started off the game 0 for 8, which means he passed the ball 8 times to start the game and didn't connect on a single one, which broke the previous record of 0-6 set by Daniel Jones, which, hey, he's not even on the team anymore. But essentially, you traded one record setter for another. Congratulations. You guys really fucking know how to spot talent. You guys know how to put the right pieces in the right places. And you guys really know how to cultivate an offense to really make a quarterback shine. Really fucking proud of you. But that's not all that truly happened. Okay, let's talk about this year as a whole. The New York Giants are currently sitting at 2-11, which makes them literally in the top 3 worst teams in franchise history. New York Football Giants history. Think about that. This team has been around for 100 years. This year symbolizes our 100-year anniversary. And the Giants are currently sitting at 2-11, where we are currently 3rd on the list of the worst Giants teams in history. In second place, you have the 1974 Giants with a 2-12 record, and then number 1 currently is the 1966 Giants with a record of 1-12-1. How can you be that bad? How can you intentionally, even if you're trying to be that bad, it's hard to be that bad. Even to go winless in a season is difficult. I don't understand this team. I don't understand why we still have these leaders that we have in place. There's no exceptions. You can't let these people go out there with a top draft pick and draft a quarterback and give them another 2-3 years, whatever, to fulfill quote unquote their vision. It's not going to happen. Now, you'll listen to a lot of the Giants media, and they're not looking at, calling for people's jobs or anything. And I get it, man. They work for the organization. They're not going to badmouth people. But hey, I would say I'm not going to be too mad about, or I wouldn't feel too bad about Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen, because I feel like Brian Daboll could definitely get a job as a mall Santa, and I wouldn't worry about him being alone, because he can take his buddy Joe Schoen with him to be his elf.
He's an angry elf.
This team literally makes no sense to me. How can you have a team where you literally have 10 players on the roster starting for you last Sunday? 10 of the 22 players that started for us this last Sunday were on the original roster at the beginning of the year or on the practice squad at the beginning of the year. The other players, the other 12 players, picked up off the street. So why is it when I'm watching this team play, especially on the defense, I'm seeing more fight, more grittiness, more toughness, taking things more personally than the players that actually have a secure spot on the roster? I don't understand how you can have these players that you literally just brought off the street, that you pulled off of other teams' practice squads, that have not even been in the building for a full week yet, that don't even know the verbiage of the playbook, and they're still going out there and giving 100% effort and looking 10 times better than any of the other players that have actually been on this team and actually have job security on this team. Now you can look at the argument and say, oh, these are players that are trying to fight for roster spots. They're not just fighting for a spot on the Giants, but they're putting out a resume for other teams. I wish I would see that same effort from the players that are actually getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to be a part of the New York Football Giants. It seems like nobody cares. It seems like everybody is just looking forward to the offseason, looking forward for them to wash their hands of the situation and be able to sell you the next life for the next season, the next year. They'll sell you the dream of bringing in a rookie quarterback, a rookie college quarterback, and then they're going to be able to be the ones to, dig the Giants out of the hole that they've been burying themselves in for the last 10 years. Well, excuse me for calling bullshit on the lies and the deception and the false promises that have been delivered to New York Giants fans over the last decade. We're tired of it. And as Giants fans, we've been at the top of the draft for most of the drafts, or especially over the last 10 years. We've been picking in the top 5, and we've seen all the other teams that have ended up picking top, the number 1 pick in the draft or the number 2 pick in the draft, and we've seen them where they were as organizations, where they were as franchises, and bringing in a quarterback isn't always, the fix-all for their situation. Okay, drafting a quarterback isn't gonna just all of a sudden be the elixir to all your ailments. We've seen that as Giants fans. We've witnessed that through other organizations. Now, sure, sometimes it does work out, but let me tell you something. If you're a quarterback away, teams that are just a quarterback away typically aren't picking at the top of the draft. Now, if you have good coaching, if you have a good scheme, if you have a good plan, if you're able to evaluate talent in the offseason and bring in certain players that fit your scheme and not just, just basically nepotism like I've been seeing with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, you're going to be able to build a competent roster. That hasn't happened here. I don't have any faith that they're going to be able to do that with a rookie quarterback. I don't have any faith that we're going to be able to do this, honestly, with anybody that comes in here. Another frustrating thing too, and this is really sad to see, and it kind of sucks to be a part of it, is when you're watching this team on TV or anywhere really, and especially if you're there at the stadium, I'm sure it's even worse. But when you're watching this team and let's say one of our quarterbacks throws an interception, or our running back fumbles the ball, or we don't get a first down, I hear cheering from our fans in the stands. That's kind of a bullshit fucking mindset. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I guess the one bright side you can think about it is the more we lose, the higher the likelihood is we get rid of the head coach and the general manager here with the Giants. But I always said that this is a mindset. Tanking is a mindset. Losing is a mindset. Don't give me the excuse that you don't have the players to win. I don't think we have the coach to win, but I don't think it's on the players. I see the players out there on the field every Sunday giving it their all, especially this last Sunday when we had players that I've never even heard of take the field for the Giants for the first time and show more heart and effort than I've ever seen from any of the starters this year. There's a leadership issue with this team. There's an effort issue with this team. There is a discipline issue with this team. And it's not going to be solved with a quarterback. It's going to be solved with scorched earth reforming of this team, of this organization, of the leadership. Because you're fooling yourself if you just think that one player is going to come in here and change everything. It's the ultimate team sport. You can't just have all of your eggs in the quarterback basket. Why do you think that the same teams that draft number 1 in the draft end up picking number 1 in the draft the following year. Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look at the Carolina Panthers, where they literally chose quarterbacks and then ended up picking number 1 the following year. It's not an end-all be-all, but most fans feel like it is. We have been in a rut for the last, not even just the last 7 years since that boat photo was taken, but literally the last decade. There's a culture issue here that's not going to be solved by losing and just allowing your character and your integrity to leave the building with you. Anyway, that's all I got to say in this video. I really appreciate you guys checking out the channel. My name is Deception. I talk about the New York Football Giants. And if you guys like the video, leave a like, subscribe, leave me a comment about what you guys are most frustrated with this team. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.